And we're live. ¿Qué tal, amigos? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with this evening's live stream. It's 7:35 p.m., the usual start time for these live streams. The 5th of December. That's right, the 5th of December. So if you haven't got your Christmas shopping done yet, you better get onto it quick smart because it's just around the corner, of course, as we know. Now, going to take a look at some of the main stories that have caught my attention in the press today here in Spain. Some comments that have been left on the channel too. We'll take a look at some of those. And in the second half of this evening's live stream, the usual formula, we'll go into the live chat and check out what is happening there. So if you are in the live chat watching the live stream, say hello. If you're watching after the fact, say hello in the comment section below the video. Now, straight into the news, and as we know, a boom year for Spanish tourism, records being broken all over the place, not only in the amount of people coming to the country as visitors, but also with the money they are spending. As we can see here, tourism revenue in Spain will exceed 200 billion euros in 2024. First tourism sector assessment before the year-end closure, with the December long weekend and the Christmas campaign looming, which, as expected, is pointing towards record figures. The turnover of tourism companies in Spain will exceed 200 billion euros, which will represent a historic contribution to the GDP of over 13%, as pointed out today by Juan Molas, president of the Tourism Board. The Business Association highlighted in a press meeting that Spanish tourism is breaking records, with an estimated volume of international tourists close to 95 million compared to 85 million last year. Molas emphasized that the seasons are extending further back, with a much more positive September in some destinations than the month of July. There is an improvement in seasonality data, a long sought after goal by the sector, and in spending figures. Travelers are spending around 11% more than last year, according to statements from the board. So win-win for the tourism sector here in Spain. 13% of GDP being invoiced in that sector, 200 billion euros. And let's be honest, that's a lot of money and lots of people visiting Spain. And as we know, it hasn't been all hunky-dory. There have been some problems throughout the year with locals protesting in various places around the country, most notably the Canary Islands, Catalonia, Barcelona, for example, Valencia. I think there were protests too. So locals not happy with the amount of tourism coming in. The tourism model basically, but the tourism board, as we saw, rubbing their hands with glee because lots of money coming into the country through that sector. Now, second piece of news, Prime Minister Sanchez making headlines today as usual because he has announced a legal and safe migration program to bring workers from Africa. The Spanish government will launch a labour mobility strategy with Africa in the first quarter of 2025. Aiming to establish a migration system that benefits migrants as well as their countries of origin and destination. This was announced by Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez during the presentation of the Spain-Africa Strategy 2025 to 2028 at Government House alongside several African leaders. The program's goal is to create legal and safe pathways for migrants and strengthen training systems in their home countries to prevent individuals who are forced to leave from falling into the hands of human trafficking networks. Sanchez declared a new era in the relationship between Spain and Africa, emphasizing an approach based on equality. His announcement follows months of government efforts to promote positive migration strategies. So this is the big news today. The first quarter of 2025, Spain will set up this scheme, legal and safe migration, and we'll see if it works because, as we know, the migration to this country is far from legal and safe, as we know, with huge numbers of illegal immigrants or irregular immigrants, according to some people, who are coming into Spain through the Canary Islands and other parts of the country, mainly by boat. I think is the favoured vessel of choice for many people. Not that they have alternatives. These old dodgy wooden boats. They set off risking their lives, and of course now Prime Minister Sanchez trying to come up with a new scheme to make it legal and safe for these people who might not have to risk their lives if they can get in on these schemes. And I don't know whether this will be successful or not, because this might have been done in the past. I could be wrong, but I think there have been schemes set up in the past, similar schemes, and I don't know if they were successful or not. So we'll see if Mr. Sanchez's new scheme is indeed successful. Third piece of news, and the traditional Christmas foods here in Spain are 5.2% more expensive than in 2023. With Christmas approaching, the annual shopping for festive foods is well underway. It's always wise to plan holiday meals, take advantage of offers, and buy in advance. However, even with careful planning, consumers will face prices that are 5.2% higher than last year, according to the Christmas Price Observatory by the Organisation of Consumers and Users, the OCU. For nearly a decade, the OCU has tracked the price trends of 16 popular Christmas foods. This year's report reveals that 1 in 3 festive items has reached record high prices. Notable increases include suckling lamb up 16%, beef joints up 6%, sea bream up 10%, and pineapples up 10%, and pomegranates up 17%. Other items, while not at record highs, have still seen significant price hikes compared to 2023. These include oysters, 19% up, sea bass, 12%, Iberian ham up 11%, Galician goose barnacles up 8%, and elvers up 9%. Shoppers will need to factor in these rising costs as they prepare for traditional Christmas feasts, because as we know, Spain is a country where people like to splurge at Christmas time. They like to spend up, and a lot of these increases in price, of course, the shop owners, the intermediaries, of course, raising prices because they know people will pay virtually anything for some of these food items to put on the table at Christmas time. As we saw there, the traditional things that people eat: suckling roast lamb, suckling roast pig, pineapples, all of those things have gone up in price. Oysters, 19% up as well. Sea bass, fish, very popular. Iberian ham, of course, a Christmas dinner table here in Spain would not be complete without Iberian ham, and also some nice cheese as well. So people's wallets being hit by these increases, which happens every year, but this year 5.2% up on last year's prices. So try and get some bargains if you can. Fourth piece of news here, and the monthly cost of raising a child in Spain rises to an average of €758. Having children makes you poor. We can't keep up, says one family. Peppa, 33, has 4 children. Her partner had to travel to France to find work as their income in Seville, where they live, was not enough to support their family. So despite their efforts, they are still struggling to make ends meet. We have so many expenses and we can't get to the end of the month. Having children makes you poor. We can't keep up. Peppa, who prefers not to share her surname for privacy reasons, told Save the Children. The organisation published a report on Tuesday detailing the cost of raising children. According to their calculations, the average monthly cost of raising a child in Spain is now €758, a 13% increase from their previous estimate in 2022. The NGO highlights that having children is a significant risk factor for falling into poverty. Parents are 70% more likely to live below the poverty line, which in Spain is set at an annual income of less than €23,078 for a couple with 2 children, according to 2023 data from the National Statistics Institute Living Conditions Survey. So no wonder birth rates in Spain are plummeting. The cost of having a child, as we can see here, over €750 a month is what you will be spending, according to that NGO Save the Children. And Peppa and her husband, with their 4 kids down there in Seville, doing it tough, making ends meet with those 4 extra mouths to feed. And Pepper's husband had to go off to France to try and get a salary increase, because in Seville, not a lot of high salaries down in that part of the country for many, many people. And 4 children, I think that's over the average here in Spain by a long, long way. In fact, if you have 3 children, you're entitled to some government benefits, what they call here the familia numerosa, 3 children or more. You get discounts at schools, you get discounts on some transport options, I think, as well. So, 4 kids, Pepper and hubby, doing it tough. And the final piece of news here, electricity fraud and illegal crops. Spain is Europe's marijuana garden. It's a headline that frequently makes the news. The Guardia Civil uncovers an illegal marijuana plantation. While it might seem like just another operation against drug trafficking in Spain, the issue runs deeper. In facilities that require such high electricity consumption, like a marijuana plantation, where does the electricity come from? The answer is likely what you expect: illegally sourced power. Electrical fraud in Spain has surged significantly in recent years. According to an Endesa report, there were more than 150 daily tamperings with the power grid in 2023 alone. Of the stolen energy detected, 37% were linked to marijuana cultivation, an increase of almost 10 percentage points compared to 2022, and 83% higher than 5 years ago. And it's neither an isolated issue nor one that's diminishing, according to figures from seizures carried out by law enforcement. In 2014, there were 270,000 plants and 7,500 kilos of marijuana confiscated. By 2022, that had risen to 3,350,000 plants and 145,000 kilos, explains Elena Cogollo Tejero, captain of the technical unit of the Guardia Civil's Judicial Police. And I don't know whether the Civil Guard's name there is a play on words or not, or whether it's a real name, because Cogollo is also what they call part of marijuana in this country, Los Cogollos. So that's where the illegal electricity is being used on these marijuana houses around the country, or these warehouses that have been set up to grow massive marijuana crops. And as we saw there, the plant quantity that the Guardia Civil confiscate rising quite substantially over a 10-year period. So lots of people in on the action, turning Spain into Europe's marijuana garden. So there we go. Comments now from Steve-O. Will tourists have to prove they have travel insurance policy? Steve-O, I don't think you have to prove that you have a travel insurance policy to come to Spain. I don't think you have to prove you have one to go anywhere that I've travelled to in recent times, whether it be Turkey last year, or Australia, or Portugal, or wherever I travel to, other European countries. Nobody's ever asked me for my travel insurance. Will it be something that you will need to prove in the future? Maybe, don't know. But as far as I know, maybe I'm wrong. So if I am, please correct me. But I've never been asked to prove travel insurance, I don't think, or at least I can't remember having been asked to prove it. So, thanks, Steve-O. Another one here from La Cucina de Papa. Hi, Stu. Great info as always. Would you share the software you are using for the articles presentation on screen? I really like the way you present them. Thanks. Thanks, La Cucina, or La, I think that's how you pronounce that word there. I use a program which is just an online program. You just log on and away you go, called Canva, Canva, and you can do many, many things in this Canva program. Basically, it's graphic design and presentations. You can also make videos. There's an endless amount of things that you can do, and I'm very happy with the price. I think it's around €9 a month or something like that I have to pay, but I use it for thumbnails. I use it for the presentations. I use it for B-roll footage in my videos, because they have a fantastic amount of stock film and stock photos that you can use. So Canva basically makes my life a whole lot easier than it used to be. So thank you very much, Canva, and the people that invented Canva, who I think were two young Australians from New South Wales, I think, who developed this software and now are billionaires, I believe. So good on them. Another one here from Jen. How can anyone actually purchase a flat or a house without inspecting every door, nook and cranny? That story makes absolutely no sense. He never looked behind the various doors in the kitchen before purchasing. He didn't sign any HOA equivalent paperwork for shared spaces. Smells very fishy. I call BS. Thanks, Jen. Here, the story that we saw the other day of a British man who purchased a part of a house, which sounds strange in itself that you only purchase part of it, but apparently it was a palace from what we read, so maybe there's various stories and various rooms there. Not sure exactly the abode in question, but the gentleman purchased part of the palace for 135,000 euros, if I remember correctly. Went into the kitchen one morning and there was a woman sitting there eating jam and toast with her dog. And he said, excuse me, where are you from? And she said in Spanish, yo qué sé, tío, yo vivo aquí, esa es mi cocina, ¿qué quieres? And he's been left with problems ever since, making the news. So, yeah, is it BS? Don't know until I actually find somebody who knows the gentleman in question, which I'm sure somebody who lives in the same area. I think it was in Cardiff somewhere. We'll bump into this gentleman one day and we'll try and get some fact-checking done as regard to that story, Jen. Thanks. Another one here from SW33 is, if there is one thing all governments have in common, it's failing at implementing almost anything having to do with tech. Yeah, and a picture of Mark Zuckerberg here. So SW33, yeah, my experience with government tech here in Spain is I can't say that I've used a lot of government tech in Australia because I've sort of left before the tech revolution hit, except when I need to get a passport renewed and things like that, and you go online to a government website and get it done. But here in Spain, we saw that the new software, I think it was, or registration system software to take tourist information crashed on the first morning of operation because obviously the demand was too high. And my limited experience with websites is that if you get too many people trying to log on at the same time, it can create issues, unless you are, of course, Google or Facebook, one of these massive websites where literally millions of people can log on at the same time and nothing ever happens. But here in Spain, sometimes you get, with these government websites, I mean, Renfe, the train company, crashes constantly. There's bots taking appointments on other government websites and selling them for a profit. So really disastrous, some government websites. But as I think it was Marcus pointed out the other day, or somebody pointed out, whenever you need to pay a fine, those websites seem to work perfectly. But the rest leave a little bit to be desired. Thanks, SW. One here from Hedgler, I think. Hasn't the Spanish tax department already been hacked? Wouldn't trust my data with these people. I don't know. I think 2 people or 3 might have mentioned the same thing about the Spanish tax department being breached, the data being breached or hacked. It's a nice way of saying it nowadays. There's been a data breach. Euphemism, I would say. The word hacked, of course, exactly what people should be saying, where people get in, steal the information, and then you end up getting all of these spam emails, and your data is compromised and all of those things. So, yeah, I don't know, to tell you the truth, but it could be that the Spanish tax department has already had issues. It could be the fact. And the last one here from Dominic, valued member. Stu, you've got quite a large following of artistic photographers. Well done, Jose Luis. Love that picture. Thanks, Dominic. Yeah, the quality of the photos in recent times has been lifted. Jose Luis's photo the other day, I think it was, if I remember correctly, what was it? It was the city of A Coruña in Galicia. and the Torre de Hércules, which is the lighthouse, which has been there for ever since the Romans were around, and it was a lovely photo. And the photo that we've got today, because it's that time of the live stream, is from Cody, who lives in Barcelona, and he sent this one through. And I tell you what, the level has been elevated again. This is the Delta del Ebro, I think. That's my Spanish pronunciation of this place. I think it's different in Catalan. Delta del Ebro, I think it was, that Cody wrote. But thanks, Cody, for this, and great photo. And if anybody else has a similar photo they would like to see on the backdrop, the email address is this one here, spainspeaks@gmail.com. Feel free to send those pictures through. And I'm not saying that you need to send one through of the quality of the ones that we've been having in recent times, but if you've got a photo that reflects Spain in any way, shape or form, whether it's a shot like this one, a coastal beach shot, restaurant shot, maybe you take a picture of your favorite restaurant from your point of view overlooking the sea or something like that, mountains, whatever. If you're doing the Camino de Santiago, send them through. That's the email address. Feel free. If you haven't hit the like icon yet, it's on the screen as well. Just below the video, you will find the like icon. So please do me a favor and hit the like icon. As I said, just below the video, you will find it. We're currently at 58, 59 now. So we'll be at 60 in just a moment. 134 people watching today. So we'll see if we can get up to a decent tally of likes. Now, also people that have supported the channel, super thanks option, buy me a coffee, Patreon supporters, and also the channel members of this YouTube channel. Thank you very much for that support. Now, I'm going to go into the chat section. Just let me scratch my nose and also get this off the screen, and we'll see what's happening in the chat section today. Let me scroll up to the top. Andrew, the first person that I can see here. Good evening all. Hope you are having a good week from a wet and cold London southeast. Well, here in Spain, Andrew, the week has finished. Today was the last working day of the week, last school day of the week, public holiday tomorrow, the 6th of January. Don't ask me what the day is tomorrow. It's either the Constitution Day or some Saints Day, Patron Saints Day. It's either one or the other. Not sure exactly which one it is. It could be the Constitution. I'm sure somebody will tell me. But two holidays, another one on Sunday, which is not good for the average person, but for people that normally work on Sunday, it'll be a day off, I imagine. Another one here from John, another comment from John. Hello from a cool, cloudy Southern California, San Diego. It seems the anti-tourism movement is losing the battle in Spain. Too many interests for the tourism industry to go well. John, the average citizen will have to put up with it for the time being until records are broken and it becomes unsustainable. That's when we'll probably get some changes, when people are being forced out of their homes because the owner wants to turn it into an Airbnb and things like that. So that's basically what we're dealing with. And to tell you the truth, the best thing that I do all year is get out of Spain in the month of August. Even though Portugal's busy, it's not as bad as some of the coastal places in this country here. So, yeah, but anyway, and now the tourism is just good. Basically, it's turned into a 12-month of the year business. Before it was seasonal, summer, now 12 months of the year. Richard, well, that's talking to Erica, so I'll come back to Richard in a minute. Brad saying, buenas noches a todos. Richard here with the original or the first chat comment. Good evening. Hope everyone is well. Wet but mild in North Yorks at the moment, North Yorkshire. We now have another flight to Malaga, EasyJet from Leeds. More flights should keep prices competitive. Hopefully. Hopefully is the key word there. Absolutely, Richard. More flights, more competition. That's how it should work. Whether it does so in theory, I don't know. And Richard's asking Erica about Chacolí, whether you can buy in Malaga. I'm sure Erica has replied. And if you go to a like a big supermarket like a Carrefour, you should be able to find Chacolí in the wine section. Erica, the comment here, who is enjoying a Chacolí at the moment, I imagine. No, not enjoying a chakali. So I don't know where the word popped up from. 12-degree max in Terrassa today. Hoping everyone is ready for the long weekend. The ones who are working, not the best aqueduct, which is what they call these long weekends here, where, let's say, for example, these holidays fall in the middle of the week. Some people will take the Monday and the Wednesday off, but also the Tuesday, the Thursday, and the Friday as well, some people. So they use it to travel, which for a lot of people they haven't done since the summer. Eddie, looking forward to the tourist figures in 2025. Yeah, we'll see, Eddie, if they continue to rise, or whether the latest information that we've had about these data registration systems keeps numbers down. I don't know. I'm sure that Spain thinks that 2025 will be another bumper year, but we might still be living those post-COVID days where people are getting their the travel in that they didn't do during the 2020, 2021, 2022 period. So we'll see if it continues, but I'm sure the government and the tourism industry in this country hopes that it does. Residents, maybe not. But especially the ones that think they don't depend on tourism. Janet, coming in from Oxford. Wet there, very wet. We had a trip to Chipping Campden in the Cotswolds, which must be one of the loveliest towns in the UK. Thanks, Janet, for that. Hope you enjoyed it there. James and Kathy coming in from Worcester. Hopefully the storms will have blown away before we cross the Bay of Biscay soon. I think there is some rain and winds forecast very, very shortly. Sharon coming in from a warm and sunny Mallorca. What else we got going on here? Marianne saying, great pros and cons video yesterday. Thanks, California, watching and listening here. Thanks, Marianne, for that. Yeah, I did. I enjoyed making the video, and obviously it's done quite well. Lots of people have enjoyed it, which is good to see. What else? Let's have a look here. Busby. I wonder what the 200 billion revenue translates to actual revenue for the government. Well, obviously the tax on that, whatever the tax is, we saw 13% of GDP, the overall figure, the taxation on that, the VAT, corporate tax on the businesses. So I'm sure the government is getting its fair share, of course. Let's have a look. John saying here, the clouds or marine layer have left since my first comment. It's looking like a sunny day here in San Diego now. Well, good to see that the clouds have lifted. Tio Al, still in Spain, El Puerto, 15 degrees Celsius there. Went to Jerez to see the Andalusian School Horse Show. Fabuloso. Fabulous. Thanks, Al, for that. Hope you enjoyed. Tourism in Amariña. In the 18 or 20 years since Andrew has lived there, has tripled, but many Spaniards from Madrid and the hotter interior is now causing a property availability problem for locals. Yeah, of course. Yeah, well, that's it. When lots of people decide to go to these places, especially now looking for cooler destinations in those summer months, a lot of people from the hot interior don't want to go to the hot Mediterranean, so they go to the north of the country, Asturias, Galicia, Cantabria. Man is a little bit late, but saw the horse show that Al was referring to before. Dave is in the chat too from sunny Florida, La Florida. Growing cannabis as a cash crop would help the Spanish economy. Probably would, but obviously the government has no plans or intentions to legalize that yet, or at least it doesn't seem to be on anybody's agenda. It was on the agenda of a politician who has recently been, he's resigned from politics because of a sexual harassment allegations. He was the person that brought it to the table. He's gone now, so I don't think we're going to see anyone else in a while. Gigi coming in from sunny and warm Arizona. Good to see you, Gigi. Gigi obviously getting ready for the Camino next year again. Sani coming in from a wet and windy Basingstoke. TOL saying they find these marijuana gardens. There are master electric meters that detect the stolen electricity. I imagine that the electricity companies know exactly when too much electricity is being spent or being used somewhere, and they're not paying for it, and they just call the Guardia Civil, who eventually get around to it. For example, if you've got a greenhouse or something, or a warehouse which all of a sudden has the electricity on however many hours a day you need to grow a crop of marijuana, I imagine it's a lot, because what's daylight in the summer months when it was traditionally grown? What's that? Maybe 14, 15 hours. So you've got to have it on for a long time. The electricity, probably you have to have ventilation as well, fans, whatever else they need to put this together. So, I'm sure the electricity companies know exactly who's doing what and where. Flutter Girl coming in from cold Toronto. The selection of news was good today. Thanks for the pros and cons video. Thank you, Flutter Girl. You're welcome. Great picture of the Delta del Ebre, as we can see in the background. We can't see much of it in the background anymore, but it was a very good photo. Tomorrow's the Constitution Day. Sunday's the religious holiday. Thanks. I knew it was either one or the other tomorrow. What else we got going on here? Let's have a look. Carmen stayed in the Amariña area in July 2022 to attend a wedding at the Parador de Bayona. Lovely area. Thanks, Carmen. Paul coming in from a miserable London. Yeah, I imagine from what we've seen so far that lots of the UK, Paul, are quite miserable currently. I think we've had Basingstoke, London, Oxford, Yorkshire. So it's a fairly wide geography there. Jamie. Hola Stuart, ¿qué tal? Watching here from, let's have a look, a wet Ashford, Kent. So Kent also wet. Now that's the end of the chat, so I'm going to wrap it up. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for tuning in this evening. I'll be back again tomorrow with some more regular content, a food video, I think. Stay tuned for that, because I ate something the other day that not many people would eat, I don't think. So stay tuned for that one tomorrow. Have a fantastic Friday, start to the weekend. Hasta luego, hasta entonces, adios. Bye-bye.